What the fuck is that? What the fuck is that in the woods?
This person was hiking along a dangerous trail in China when disaster almost struck. One wrong step and they nearly slipped off the edge of the cliff. The heart-stopping moment was caught on camera as they struggled to regain balance, clinging to life by just a second. Imagine standing there, the ground crumbling beneath your feet, nothing but a deadly drop below. What would you do? Would you freeze, fight to climb back, or accept the fall? Have you ever been in a moment where your life flashed before your eyes? Sometimes the difference between life and death is just one step. When they were climbing the mountain, they stumbled upon a black, open pit. Curiosity got the better of them. They bound a rope, tested it, and began going down. As the rope was spilling out, they saw something unbelievable.
Dude.
It's pretty spacious in there.
Yeah, it gets huge, and it just drops off straight down 150 feet. Oh. See ya, man. Bye. That is crazy. Oh. Wow. Look at this, guys. Oh, there's a whole stream down there. Oh.
The cave dropped about 1,500 feet directly downwards. But they went on. The air grew colder, the light vanished, until finally they hit firm ground. Much to their surprise, a hidden river flowed deep beneath the mountain, its water glowing faintly in the darkness, as if holding something back. Why would the cave be so deep? What is it down there? Is it just the river or something more mysterious? If you were the person who stood at the edge, would you climb on into the unknown? He was riding deep into the forest, the air quiet, the trees standing over him like unblinking sentinels, and then his tire slid and he crashed violently onto the ground. The quiet was broken by the noise of his crash. But here's what's really scary. Right after he crashed, he could have sworn he heard the sound of footsteps circling through the trees, although he was by himself. The forest grew darker, colder, and all the shadows seemed to stir to life. What did you suspect was lurking inside those woods? Was it just the woods playing tricks on you, or something else lurking, waiting to be discovered by him? If you were injured alone in the middle of nowhere, how would you get up knowing that something invisible is likely watching you? High above the ground, with nothing but clouds and thin air beneath, this man stepped onto the infamous Mount Huashan plank walk, often called the world's most dangerous hike. Just imagine it, a few wooden planks bolted to the side of a cliff, swaying slightly, held only by a chain clipped to his harness. One wrong step, one slip of the foot, and it's a 2,000-foot drop into nothingness. His hands trembled as he gripped the rock wall, inching forward, the wind howling in his ears. Every heartbeat felt louder than the echoes of the mountain itself. Would you dare take this walk? Could you trust those old planks with your life? Or would you freeze halfway across knowing there's no turning back? This person was alone in his house when it began. A voice calling his name. He had thought initially it was just in his head until the voice grew louder, clearer, and his own voice echoes him from the second floor of his house, his heart squeezed up tight, terror creeping in with every iteration. He stood there, straining to hear, his heart racing. The voice called out again, precisely like his, but deeper, colder.
I heard someone is calling me, but I'm alone in my home. Like मेरे घर में कोई भी नहीं है अभी. कौन? रोहान तुम हो? क्या हुआ? हाँ? तुम नीचे आओ. तुम नीचे आ जाओ रोहान. नीचे क्यों नहीं आना? क्यों? बकवास बंद करो अपनी. कौन था? बोलो. रूम में है ना कोई? मेरी एक बार अपने जेब में. Okay, bye. I don't know what it is, but okay, bye.
Who do you think was shouting his name in the house? A ghost, a demon, or something worse? What would you do if it were your own voice answering back to you in the shadows? Would you run out of the house, meet it head on, or pray that it stays behind? Because sometimes the scariest voice you hear is your own. On a snow-covered mountain slope, the camera captures a hair-stopping moment. A man does an unexpected loss of control and goes zip-whizzing down toward a lethal cliff edge. Seconds before impact, a man in a yellow zip jacket appears out of nowhere. He dashes into the scene and tackles the ground, catching hold of the plummeting man's arm and holding tight for all he's worth. The wave sucks them both under, but he won't let go. Before you can say anything, in a split second, other people run there to help and pull the man back from certain doom. What would you do in that moment? Can you keep your grip? Imagine you're sleeping in a campground inside an abandoned building deep in the woods. It's dark, the air is cold, and you step out onto the balcony just to catch a glimpse of fresh air. And then you freeze, deep in the dark row of trees. Two shining eyes are staring at you. They don't blink. They don't change. They just stare.
The fuck is that? The fuck is that in the woods? Hello? Hello?
What would you do at that moment? Are those animal eyes or something much more alien? Is it a ghost, a spirit, or some kind of unexplainable creature? Would you be strong enough to meet its stare or run and hide inside? So I ask you, if you were there, alone in that silence, what would your brain let your mind believe those eyes belong to? It was supposed to be a quiet afternoon in the forest, but suddenly his tent shook violently. A bear was right outside, sniffing, pawing, and pressing against the fabric. Alone, trapped inside, his heart pounded louder than the rustling trees. Luckily, the bear wasn't there to hunt. It was just curious, circling, as if greeting him in its own terrifying way. After a few tense minutes, it wandered off, leaving him shaken but alive. But imagine if that bear had truly meant business. What do you think would have happened? Would he have stood a chance to fight back, or would it have been over in seconds? And would you ever risk camping alone after an encounter like this? He walked slowly to the riverbank, the moonlight silvering ripples on the water. But then something strange arrested his notice. A conclave of tortoises had formed, a faultless one in the shallow part of the river. Inside the ring were 3 small tortoises who remained still, as if under guard or siege. The water about them seemed to ripple in rhythms, as if some hidden ceremony was being carried out. He remained stationary, whether to advance one step more or turn tail. What was he doing here? Were the tortoises protecting the smaller ones, or up to something mysterious? Would you take the risk and step in, or simply wait outside in concealment, if in his place? This was supposed to be a peaceful journey, but it turned into a nightmare. To begin with, in the dead of night, there came a massive branch from a tree falling straight on top of his tent, ripping it wide apart. Heart racing, he got out of there, thankful to be alive. But fate wasn't finished yet. On the trek down from the mountain, he slipped on a rock and heard a sharp crack. He had ripped one of the ligaments in his ankle. Pain ran through his system with every step, and then suddenly the trip was a battle to even escape alive. Has there ever been a trip that went completely wrong for you? Would you have still kept pushing through the pain that he did, or would you have pulled over and waited for help? The shock of his lifetime came the day he chose to hike alone. What was initially an adventure turned into a nightmarish experience. Far in the middle of a snow forest, the silence was creepy. No voices, no tracks, just the sound of his boots crunching into the white ground. Then, in an instant, he was lost. He wandered in a circle for over an hour, looking for a path down, each tree the same, each trail a dead end. The cold nipped at his skin, and terror screamed louder with every second. Would you ever dare to hike by yourself in this kind of weather? If you were stranded like he was, would you keep traveling or stay still and hope to be rescued? It was while on a solo hike in the mountains of Cabo San Lucas that something unusual caught his eye. In the distance, coming outside of the rock, was a giant figure, too large, too fast, and too strange to be human. Its shadow was elongated in the sun, its movements deliberate, almost as if it knew it was being watched. He froze, heart pounding. Could it be? The locals talk about legends in whispers, but there he stood, staring at what looked like the Mexican Sasquatch. Do you think these creatures actually exist, or was it just a trick of the light? If you were in his shoes, would you grab a camera, get a closer look, or run in the other direction? He walked deep into the woods and climbed deep into a tree, hidden in the leaves. Down below, a lone coyote was quiet, watchful, and wandered the clearing. From up high, he whispered, just to play tricks on his mind, to test if the animal would hear him. The yote hesitated, twitching ears, sniffing nose, attempting to find the sound. What do you think the coyote would do if it realized the sound was coming from right above its head? And what if he had hissed from below in the woods? Would the coyote pounce, creep, or simply vanish into the night? It was supposed to be a quiet night of camping, but it was the night of horror in his life. The fire was low, the forest quiet, when abruptly a voice pierced the blackness. The cry rang out through the trees, rasping, ghostly, and not quite human. He remained still where he was, his heart pounding, frozen between fear and morbid fascination. Was it really a person in distress, or something trying to coax him out? The voice kept calling, moving closer and closer, like it could identify his exact location on the ground. What would you do, staying hidden in the tent? This family was out enjoying a peaceful picnic, laughter filling the air, when out of nowhere, a wild bear wandered straight into their campsite. Without hesitation, the bear went straight for the food table, sniffing, pawing, and helping itself like it owned the place. The family froze, hearts pounding, but they reacted perfectly calm, quiet, and slowly backed away to give the animal space. Thankfully, no one was harmed, though the bear clearly had a feast. What do you think was going through their minds at that moment? Fear, shock, or disbelief? If you were there, would you try to scare the bear away, grab the food, or just let it eat and hope it leaves peacefully? What an odd encounter this was. He was deep in the forest, creeping stealthily, when suddenly something shifted. Between the trees, a huge, shadowy form moved steadily, its massive body unfamiliar to him in any way. His own breath was short in his throat. The creature walked deliberately, crushing footsteps through the leaves, but never once looking back in his direction.
What in the world is that thing?
Others say what he saw might have been Bigfoot, while others would call it something else entirely. You were the one who just so happened to be there. Would you find it and go get the truth, or run in the other direction? Do you think creatures like Bigfoot exist? Are they nothing more than myths around campfires? A Reddit user shared a chilling trail cam photo their cousin had shown them. A lone woman in a flowing white dress, standing eerily still in the middle of the woods. Some brushed it off as a harmless cosplay or an elaborate prank, but others had a far darker theory. Maybe it was something or someone trying to lure people deeper into the forest. The strange part? The cousin lives in an extremely remote area, making it almost impossible for anyone to be out there by chance. In the end, no one could explain it. But many are convinced it wasn't human at all. While exploring an old, abandoned silo under the cover of night, a group of friends froze in their tracks. From the darkness came the faint sound of a girl's voice, soft, trembling, calling for help. She claimed her phone was dead and that she couldn't find anyone. At first it seemed real, too real, but there was something off, a strange, mechanical edge in her tone, not quite human. That's when it hit them.
Found a skinwalker at the silos.
Can you help me? I lost my friend.
Huh?
I lost my friend.
What?
My friend said, can you please help me?
What?
Hello?
Yo, hold on. Chill.
I can't see.
No, that's Skinwalker, bro. That's Skinwalker.
Where are you guys?
Is you a Skinwalker? Go down. You're going down, bro. Are you a Skinwalker? This way. Hey, come on.
My friends.
This wasn't a person. The air grew colder. None of them waited for an answer. They bolted out of the silo, hearts pounding, never looking back. It could be a clever recording meant to lure them in. Or maybe it was something far worse, a mimic waiting for its prey. After losing her husband, Mrs. Collins began noticing unsettling occurrences in her home. At first, it was just strange noises and odd movements. But when these incidents started happening around her 1-year-old daughter, she decided to record them.
Robert. You said, come on. Well, come on, Daddy. I ain't scared. Show me where he at.
Here.
What's up there?
Yay. Dada.
Girl. What you, what? What? Girl. She just be doing it. I don't. What's up there, baby?
Dada.
So Daddy followed us to grandma's house. I just turned the camera on and then, cause I see her when she start pointing, she'll point up to the sky.
Dada. Mama, Dada.
Where? There's nobody over there, right?
Some believe this was a tender visit from her late husband. Others fear it could be something far more sinister, an entity pretending to be him. But here's the unsettling part. No one had ever told the child her father had passed away. Mrs. Collins is certain it was her husband. On the way to a party, a man trailed behind his friend's car, casually filming the drive without thinking much of it. But a few seconds into the footage, something chilling appeared. Behind the vehicle ahead, a faint, motionless figure dressed in white stood eerily still. The video was grainy, yet the silhouette was unmistakable. Then, as if melting into the darkness, the figure slowly faded away. Neither of them noticed it in the moment, but both admitted the night had an unsettling, almost heavy feeling. Could what they captured be the reason why? A Redditor shared a chilling story about her sister's home deep in the woods. One night, her security camera caught something bizarre, a hazy, human-shaped mist that seemed to materialize out of nowhere and drift across the lens. Some commenters tried to explain it away as just a person distorted by the camera, but here's the problem. No one was supposed to be anywhere near that house, and the middle of a dense forest isn't exactly a casual hangout spot. Even stranger, the figure didn't walk in from the side, it simply appeared. No clear explanation fits, leaving one unsettling possibility lingering in the air, something paranormal. In 2022, a man set up a trail camera deep in a remote forest, hoping to capture rare glimpses of wildlife. But when he reviewed the footage, one clip stopped him cold. A strange humanoid figure that didn't look entirely human. The location was so secluded and the camera so well hidden that it seemed impossible for anyone to just stumble across it. He wrestled with two explanations. Maybe some random person had wandered through by pure chance, or maybe he'd caught something that wasn't human at all. And in his gut, he knew it was the latter. Deep in the heart of an untouched forest, a colossal hornet nest hung like nature's ticking time bomb. These weren't your average stingers. One wrong move and it could turn deadly. Yet in certain parts of the world, these hornets are a prized delicacy, making the gamble all the more tempting. Clad in heavy protective gear, the team braved the swarm, every step a test of nerve, until at last they secured and relocated the nest. Mission accomplished. On a late-night hike near an old forest cemetery, a group of friends decided to wander off the main trail. Drawn by curiosity, they began exploring the weathered graves, their flashlights sweeping over moss-covered headstones. One hiker paused to take a quick photo beside a crumbling marker, thinking nothing of it at the time. But when they later looked at the picture, their stomachs dropped. A faint, misty figure seemed to be rising from the earth right next to the grave. Several in the group recalled a sudden, bone-chilling drop in temperature, and that unsettling sensation of invisible eyes watching them. They left soon after, silent and uneasy. None of them has dared to go back. While vacationing in Santiago, Chile, a family decided to spend the evening at a lively beach luau in Viña del Mar. But amid the music, laughter, and ocean breeze, something strange stole the show.
Uy, sí, qué raro. Mira las luces que van. Grábenlo, niño.
Mira.
¿Y eso? Una estrella fugaz en el cerro. No, era como una nube. Se desvaneció.
Two glowing orbs appeared in the night sky, drifting slowly, silently, and impossibly smooth. Heads tilted upward, conversations stopped, and the crowd collectively fell into stunned silence. No one could say what they were looking at. The skies were crystal clear, the lights were unlike anything familiar. Yet neither local space agencies nor aviation authorities ever explained. To this day, that eerie sight over the beach remains a mystery. When she was just 6 years old, a Reddit user visited Gettysburg and had an encounter she would never forget. Near Longstreet Tower, she spotted a faint, grayish figure who calmly introduced himself as John Reich. He claimed to be a World War I medic. He even warned her to stay away from a nearby rock wall before vanishing into thin air. Days later, while wandering through Gettysburg National Cemetery, she froze in shock. There it was, a headstone bearing the name John Reich. Years later, she shared her eerie childhood story online. That's when things took an even stranger turn. A woman stepped forward, claiming to be Reich's great-granddaughter. She confirmed he had served as a medic in World War I and later worked as a carpenter and taxi driver. Coincidence? Maybe. But honestly, I doubt it. A mysterious trail cam photo from California has been making waves on X, leaving people baffled over what exactly was caught on camera. Some swear it's proof of a dogman or even Bigfoot lurking in the wild. Sure, that's where the mind jumps first, but others have a more grounded theory. It's likely just a bear suffering from mange, a skin disease caused by mites that can make animals look eerily thin and nearly hairless. Sounds reasonable. But still, what if it wasn't? During a home renovation, one family stumbled onto a bizarre mystery hidden under more than a foot of pine needles. The previous owners, who'd lived there for 25 years, insisted they had never seen it before. At first glance, it looked like some ancient relic, maybe even something cursed. But a closer inspection revealed a $79.99 price tag and the name of artist Doris Beaver. Turns out, it was just a quirky, decorative tree face. Still, one question lingered. Who buried it so deep? And why? While scrolling through his trail cam footage, a man spotted something bizarre, something that made him do a double take. At first, it looked like a fairy? Surely, that couldn't be right. Curious, he posted the clip to Reddit, and the responses blew up. Most viewers swore it looked exactly like a tiny winged creature, but a few skeptics offered a more grounded theory. It was probably an owl swooping through the night with a rabbit in its claws. So, what's your take? Magical being or hungry bird? While kayaking down a roaring river, a kayaker is suddenly slammed against a massive boulder. The powerful current pins them underwater, making it nearly impossible to move. They're trapped, gasping for air, as the rushing water pushes harder and harder. Nearby, their friend spots the struggle and battles the fierce current, desperately trying to pull them free.
Are you okay?
Every second feels heavier, the river roaring like it's alive, and time is running out fast. While camping in the middle of a quiet Florida night, everything seemed calm. Marshmallows roasting, crickets chirping, the gentle sound of water nearby, until the surface began to ripple. At first, it looked like a fish, until glowing eyes started to appear. One pair, then another, then 10. Massive, dark shapes slid silently through the water, closing in. What was meant to be a peaceful night under the stars quickly turned into a terrifying standoff. A camper found himself trapped as huge alligators surrounded the area, their eyes locked on him, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. With nothing but a thin tent or camp chair between him and jaws powerful enough to pull someone into the water in seconds, every heartbeat felt louder, and every second felt longer. This wasn't just a scary story. It was a real-life, teeth-snapping close call that could have ended very badly. Okay, this is one of the most disturbing things you'll watch today. A man falls from a 3-story building, yes, 3 whole floors up. That's the kind of fall that usually ends in tragedy. And to make things worse, he doesn't just hit the ground. No, he comes crashing down on top of a car. The sound alone must have been terrifying, like something straight out of a nightmare. Now here's the part that will make your jaw drop. Instead of broken bones, blood, or even the tiniest scratch, this guy stands back up, completely fine. Imagine everyone around him, frozen, expecting the worst, only to watch him dust himself off like nothing happened. Some people say it was pure luck. Others are calling it a miracle. But think about it. How do you explain something like this? A fall from that high should have been deadly. Yet somehow, he walks away, as if some invisible force protected him. Whether you believe in miracles, crazy coincidences, or just pure chance, one thing's for sure, this story will leave you with chills. Because if something like this can happen, what else is possible? While hiking through a quiet forest trail with his dog, everything seemed peaceful at first. The sun was slipping behind the trees, the air was cool, and nothing felt out of the ordinary. But then, the dog suddenly froze. His ears shot up, his fur stood on end, and he started barking non-stop. The hiker immediately knew something wasn't right. Dogs don't just act like that for no reason. So, the person scanned the darkening woods, searching for what had shaken the dog so, and that's when it happened.
Ollie, what are you barking at? And the dog was barking hard. Man, it's a full moon tonight, yo. Full moon tonight. I don't know what the hell he's barking at. I have no idea. What the hell is he barking at? What the hell is that? What the fuck is that? What the fuck? What the fuck is that, y'all? What the fuck is that? Oh, 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 oh.
2 glowing red eyes staring back from deep within the trees. For a few seconds, the hiker couldn't even move. The forest fell dead silent, as if everything around was watching too. Were those eyes just a trick of the light? Maybe some animal is hiding in the shadows? Or could it be something far more chilling? Like the legendary dogman people whisper about around campfires? The most unsettling part? Those eyes never blinked. They just hovered there in the dark, glowing, unblinking, waiting. Some say it might have been a prank, someone hiding with a flashlight. But others believe it was something unexplainable, something beyond human. One thing's for sure, the dog sensed it first. And sometimes when your dog reacts with that kind of fear, it's a warning you should never ignore. Because in the woods, you never really know what's out there. While riding a bike through a forest, this person thought it would just be another calm trip down the trail. The trees surrounded every side, tall and silent, with only the sound of tires crunching against dirt. It felt peaceful, until that peace shattered in an instant. Out of nowhere, a scream tore through the air. Not just a normal scream. This one was blood-curdling, the kind that makes every muscle freeze before instinct kicks in. The rider immediately pushed the pedals harder, racing through the path, trying to escape whatever made that horrifying sound. But here's the chilling part. The scream didn't even sound human. It was distorted, echoing through the forest like something straight out of a nightmare. Some people might say it resembled the call of a Wendigo, a terrifying creature from old legends said to haunt the woods and mimic voices to draw people closer. Others might argue it was just a wild animal. Foxes and owls, after all, can make noises that sound eerily human when the night amplifies them. Still, the rider swore this was different. Every push forward felt like being chased by something unseen. The forest no longer felt like trees and shadows. It felt alive, watching, waiting, and that scream, it never left the rider's head, echoing even louder than the sound of the bike wheels. It's the dead of night, 3:54 in the morning. The house is quiet, the neighborhood asleep, but right outside the front door, something terrifying is moving. The security camera flickers on, and there they are. Not one, not two, but several mountain lions are creeping through the darkness, just a few steps away from the porch. The eerie glow of their eyes pierces the night, and every movement makes the air feel heavier. This isn't a random sighting either. Neighbors in the foothills just south of Santa Barbara have been whispering about it for weeks. A family of 4 big cats, a mother and her 3 young ones, have been roaming the streets after dark. And now they're right here, almost close enough to touch. The footage reveals them moving calmly, almost like they own the place. Then, just as the camera is about to time out, there's a shadow, a shape, another one coming up the path. But the screen cuts to black before it's clear. Was it the missing 4th lion, or could there be even more? Back in 2013, 2 American tourists were exploring the coast of Kiryat Yam, Israel, when they stumbled upon something bizarre perched on a rock just off the shore.
That's a weird looking sailman. Are you filming this? Yeah. How do you, where's the zoom on this? Yeah, it's that button. Oh, there, I got it. What is that? Oh my God! What is that? Did you get that? Tell me you got that. Did you see that? What? That is not a sailman. Oh my God. Oh my God.
At first glance, it looked human, but the lower half was undeniably that of a fish. Shocked, they whipped out a camera and zoomed in, trying to capture the strange figure. But as if it sensed it was being watched, the creature suddenly slipped back into the waves, disappearing into the depths. Ever since, the clip has divided viewers. Some insist it's just another hoax, while others point out that even Animal Planet once aired eerily similar mermaid footage. So what do you think? Was this a real-life mermaid sighting? A siren straight out of legend? Or perhaps an entirely unknown aquatic cryptid? Two friends thought they were just going on a peaceful hike through the woods. The sun was shining, the trail was quiet, and everything felt normal. At least at first. But here's the thing about nature. You never really know what's out there with you. As they kept walking deeper into the forest, something felt off. The air got heavy, and the silence wasn't calming anymore. It was almost too quiet, like the whole forest was holding its breath.
Don't look at what's in front of you. Boost, moving up and down again. Men go mad.
Slow, deliberate footsteps echoed from behind them. Not rushing, not running, just following. They turned around, and for a split second, they caught a glimpse of a shadowy figure standing between the trees. Not too close, but not far enough to ignore. The figure didn't say a word, didn't move, just stood there, watching. Imagine standing on the edge of a giant mountain. Except this mountain isn't just a mountain. It's alive. It rumbles. It breathes smoke. And at any moment, it could unleash pure fire from deep inside the earth. That's exactly what happened to one hiker. She had been climbing for hours, excited to finally reach the top. But instead of a beautiful view, she was greeted with something terrifying. Thick, black smoke pushing out of the crater. The air grew hot. The ground shook beneath her boots. And suddenly, she realized she was standing on an active volcano. Now here's the chilling part, that smoke could have easily been something far worse. Lava. Burning, unstoppable rivers of fire that swallow everything in their path. Just imagine looking down and seeing the ground glowing red, knowing there's no way to outrun it. Hiking an active volcano isn't like hiking a normal trail. You're walking on top of a ticking time bomb. Toxic gases, falling ash, and landslides, all waiting to strike when you least expect them. And if lava does appear, there's nowhere to hide. So, the next time someone talks about climbing to the top of a volcano, remember this story. It might sound adventurous, but one wrong eruption could turn that adventure into the last hike ever. While hiking on the Lake Clementine Trail in Auburn, California, a group of friends thought they were capturing fun memories, but instead, their cameras recorded something no one could have imagined. The final moments of 19-year-old Raymond Cabalfin Jr. At first, the day looked perfect. The trail was alive with laughter, pictures, and videos. But just a few steps near the American River turned everything upside down. The water looked harmless, calm even. But beneath the surface, the current was a silent danger waiting to strike. As Raymond got closer to the river, the unthinkable happened.
Hey, wait, I'm gonna record this.
This is memories right here.
Hey, so we got my cousin, we got my boy Ray. All right, Ray, go for it. Do it, Ray, go. Go. 2, 1. Boom.
Carmen's gone.
The strong current pulled him in with terrifying force. His friends shouted, some reaching out in desperation, others still holding their phones in shock, not believing what they were seeing. Within seconds, Raymond was swept away, gone before anyone could react. The haunting part? The camera didn't stop rolling. What started as a fun memory became a chilling recording of a young man's final moments. Rescue teams searched, but Raymond never made it back. Now, his friends are left with a video they'll never forget. A reminder of how quickly joy can turn into tragedy. This heartbreaking story shows just how dangerous nature can be. A river might look safe on the outside, but its hidden strength can take a life in seconds. It's a warning to everyone. Always respect the water, because one wrong step can change everything forever. A dark, quiet night. And suddenly, the silence is shattered by the most blood-curdling screams you could imagine. Not human, but not something you'd ever want to hear outside your window either.
Holy shit.
The storyteller swears it was the single most terrifying sound ever experienced. Full body chills, goosebumps, the works. Now some people are quick to say, "Oh, that's just coyotes, they always sound like that." But trust me, when you hear it for yourself, it's not some cute wildlife sound effect. It's the kind of thing that makes your stomach drop. Here's the crazy part. Instead of hiding away, the person telling this story opened the door. Yeah, sounds risky, right? But the reasoning was simple. The screams were coming from a distance. If those creatures were moving closer, the sound would have changed. Now, we all know coyotes usually aren't a huge threat to humans. Still, when there's more than one of them, when the pack starts howling and screaming together, it feels different. The storyteller stood there, cautious, scanning the night, fully aware of just how many unseen eyes could have been watching. In the end, nothing happened, but that sound, that bone-chilling chorus in the dark, was unforgettable. While hiking through a quiet forest, the kind where every step crunches leaves and the wind whispers through the trees, out of nowhere, a huge cloud of smoke drifts across the trail. At first, it just looks like normal smoke, maybe from a campfire somewhere far off. But here's the creepy part. The smoke doesn't move like regular smoke. It shifts, twists, and curls almost as if something or someone is controlling it. The hiker froze, watching it stretch into strange shapes, moving against the breeze. It didn't scatter or fade like smoke usually does. Instead, it floated in eerie waves, sliding across the path like it had a mind of its own. Every step closer made the air feel heavier, like the forest itself was holding its breath. For a second, the hiker swore the smoke was watching back. Then, just as suddenly as it appeared, the strange cloud slipped deeper into the trees and vanished. Nobody knows what it was. Was it just some weird trick of the wind? Or maybe something far stranger? Either way, that hike was never forgotten. While hiking deep in the forest, a camera was rolling to capture the beauty of nature. The air was calm, the trees whispered in the wind, and everything seemed peaceful. Until something completely unexpected happened.
Repérer les traces de l'individu en question dans les bois et comment sur la forêt on a...
Out of nowhere, the sound of footsteps echoed from behind. At first it felt harmless, maybe just another traveler on the trail. But when the camera turned, standing there was a tall figure cloaked from head to toe. At first glance, it almost looked human. But then the hood slipped, and beneath it weren't normal features. It was scales. That's when the chase began. The cloaked reptilian lunged forward, forcing the hiker to sprint down the twisting path. Every snap of a branch, every crunch of leaves underfoot, sounded like a warning that danger was closing in. The forest no longer felt safe. It felt alive, as though every shadow wanted to trap the hiker. Heart pounding, breath sharp, legs burning from the run. Yet the creature was still right behind. Then, suddenly, it slowed down, almost as if it wanted to be seen, before vanishing into the trees, leaving only silence behind. What the camera captured that day is still up for debate. Was it just someone in a costume? Or did the forest reveal a secret most people would never believe? One thing's certain, this was no ordinary hike. Deep in the forest, a trail cam caught something strange, almost like smoke drifting between the trees. But here's the thing, there was no fire, no camp nearby, and the movements didn't look natural at all. Some of these shapes twist and curl like mist, while others dart in different directions, almost as if they had a mind of their own. Imagine walking through the woods at night and suddenly seeing fog move against the wind. Pretty creepy, right? Now, this wasn't just one blurry figure. The camera picked up multiples, each one moving differently, crossing paths like shadows dancing in the dark. Could it have been bugs close to the lens? Dust? Or maybe something we can't explain? Nature has a way of hiding mysteries in plain sight. Sometimes what looks like smoke might be nothing more than a trick of the light. Other times, it makes people wonder, what else is out there when we're not looking? While hiking, this person saw something that would make anyone stop in their tracks. At first, it looked like a fallen log stretched across the trail, but then it moved. The log had scales, claws, and two glowing eyes that locked onto the world around it. It was an alligator, not just a regular one, but an abnormally large beast, so huge that the narrow trail seemed far too small for it. Each step made the ground crunch, and the forest went strangely quiet, almost as if everything else was too scared to make a sound. The hiker froze, heart racing, because in that moment, it felt less like a casual walk in nature, and more like stumbling into the territory of a prehistoric monster. But here's what made it even more chilling. The giant reptile didn't even care. It wasn't hunting, it wasn't angry. It was simply crossing the path, minding its business, as if the entire forest belonged to it. And honestly, with a creature that size, it probably did. While hiking deep in the woods, far from the nearest town, with nothing but the sound of crickets and the crunch of leaves underfoot, the air was calm, almost peaceful. But then, the silence broke. Out of nowhere, a blood-chilling scream echoed through the forest. It wasn't an animal call that hikers usually hear. No owl, no coyote. This was human, sharp, desperate, and filled with terror. Every step froze, heart racing, eyes darting between the trees. The thought came, someone's out here and they're in trouble. But another thought followed quickly. What if it wasn't a person at all? The mind raced with possibilities. Some hikers say foxes or bobcats can scream like people. Others swear it's something unexplainable, creatures that hide deep in the wilderness. Whatever it was, one thing was clear. The forest wasn't empty. With no phone signal and only the thin beam of a flashlight cutting through the dark, the choice had to be made. Keep moving forward into the unknown or turn back and hope the screaming didn't follow. Two hunters went deep into the woods, expecting nothing more than another ordinary day. But instead of prey, they stumbled onto something out of a nightmare. A wild boar, ripped clean in half as if some giant creature had torn it apart like paper. But here's where things get even stranger. The ground all around was covered in footprints. Massive ones, too big to belong to any human. The hunters followed the trail, their hearts racing, as the prints disappeared into the dark forest. Now people are asking the same chilling question. Could this be another sign of the Yeti? The mysterious beast that's said to roam deep, hidden places where no human dares to live? Think about it. No wolf, no bear, not even the strongest wild animal could leave marks like that. And the boar? It wasn't just attacked, it was split apart. That's not normal. That's not natural. Some believe this is proof that the Yeti is real, that it's out there watching, and now and then it leaves a warning. Others say it could be a hoax, maybe hunters trying to scare people. But let's be honest, would you go that far, just for a prank? A group of friends was spending the day by a waterfall, laughing, relaxing, and capturing memories on camera. One girl had her phone out, recording everything. Suddenly, a strange sound echoed from the trees. She instinctively turned her camera toward the forest, but nothing unusual seemed to be there, so she went back to filming her friends. wasn't until later that night, replaying the footage at home, that she noticed something unsettling. For just a moment, the camera had caught sight of what appeared to be a transparent woman standing among the trees, silently watching them. The strange part? None of them had seen anything with their own eyes. Only the camera did. Was it a trick of the mind, just pareidolia at work? Or had they unknowingly captured something truly paranormal? Out on a peaceful hike, someone stopped to snap a quick photo with their dog. But when they looked back at it later, they noticed something chilling. Lurking in the background was a shadowy figure with glowing eyes. Strangely, the dog stood perfectly calm, which many argued no trained retriever would ever do if something like that was nearby. To this day, no one knows where the photo truly came from, and the eerie mystery has never been solved. Living deep in the woods, this person began to notice eerie sounds echoing through the forest. The noise seemed to travel in short bursts, shifting east, pausing, then reappearing in new spots 4 different times before going completely silent. At first, the thought was that it might be a drone, but something about the pattern just didn't feel right. Later, someone suggested it could be nothing more than a male cicada calling for a mate. But after comparing it to cicada recordings, the mystery didn't seem to match. So what could these strange sounds be? While hiking through a quiet trail in Georgia, someone stumbled upon a sight that froze them in their tracks. Lying just off the path was what looked like a lifeless, half-naked body, covered in mud and dirt. Terrified, they immediately called the police. However, when the officers arrived, the shocking truth emerged. It wasn't a person at all. It was a discarded doll. Deputies later nicknamed it SAR and even cleaned it up at the sheriff's office. Luckily, this chilling discovery turned out to be nothing more than a creepy doll, and not something far darker. This man lives completely off the grid. No neighbors, no stores, nothing but miles of empty land. But last night, his gate camera picked up something chilling. A lone figure walking past his property around 11 p.m. At first, it looked strange enough. But by 3:44 a.m., the camera caught him again, this time wearing black gloves. The footage was turned over to the sheriff, who's now keeping watch over the area. Still, the real question remains. What was a man doing, that deep in the wilderness, in the middle of the night? And why the gloves? Could he be hiding something in the woods? Late one night, a man walked toward the parking lot to grab his car. But just as he got close, he froze. There, inside a tent, was a figure draped in white, completely motionless. The silence was suffocating, almost unnatural.
Nampakkan.
The place was deserted, not a soul in sight. With his heart pounding, he pulled out his phone to record, knowing no one would believe him otherwise. Then, without looking back, he bolted for his car, shaken, unsettled, and desperate to get away. While exploring an abandoned armory deep in the woods, a Reddit user stumbled upon something straight out of a nightmare. A freshly dug, human-sized hole, perfectly deep enough to bury someone. The place was remote, overgrown, and so far off the grid that no vehicle could even get near it. When they reported it, dispatch casually suggested it was just a relic hunter digging around. But then things took a darker turn. Multiple investigators called back, asking pointed questions. Had they seen anyone? touched anything. They even mentioned setting up trail cameras and firmly warned the user never to return. Since that day, there's been nothing but silence, no updates, no answers, just chilling uncertainty. While hiking, this hiker wandered deep into the forest and stumbled upon something strange. Hidden behind the thick trees stood an old abandoned building, its windows shattered and walls covered in creeping vines. At first, it just looked like a forgotten ruin, but as the hiker moved closer, a chill crept in. Then it happened. In one of the broken windows, the hiker spotted a face, pale, still, silent, just staring back. For a moment, everything froze. The woods, the air, even the hiker's heartbeat felt louder than anything else. While out on a quiet hike, a man suddenly felt eyes on him and realized he wasn't alone.
Nice bear.
Just a few steps behind, a black bear was trailing him. Instead of panicking or running, he kept his cool, moving slowly forward while sneaking cautious glances over his shoulder. Luckily, the bear never charged, never chased, and after a tense walk through the woods, the man made it out safe. This past summer, a man set off on a solo camping trip deep in the Sierra Nevadas. He pitched his tent, built a fire, and even recorded a short video to reassure his girlfriend that he was safe and ready for the night. But when that video finally reached her the next morning, she noticed something he hadn't. Just beyond the glow of the fire pit, two faint eyes shimmered in the darkness, watching. The camper later admitted he felt uneasy that night, like he wasn't truly alone, but he never saw what was out there until those eyes were caught on camera. The question is, what was silently stalking him in the woods, and was he in real danger? While staying in a secluded cabin deep within the mountains of Mazamitla, Jalisco, this person experienced something deeply unsettling. From the corner of their eye, they spotted a humanoid figure lurking silently behind a car, just watching. Was it a stalker, a twisted prank, or something far more mysterious? They didn't dare step closer to find out. And honestly, who would? In early 2016, the quiet little town of Forest Grove, Oregon, was shaken by something truly bizarre. For 2 unsettling weeks, a chilling high-pitched noise swept through the streets near Gales Creek Road. Some described it as a warped flute, others as a metallic scream straight out of a nightmare. The sound came without warning, piercing through walls, rattling nerves, and leaving people wide awake at night. More than 200 residents reported hearing it. City crews scrambled for answers, checking gas lines, pipes, attic fans, and even local wildlife. But every lead turned up empty. And then, just as mysteriously as it began, the noise vanished. By late February, it was gone. By March, the city had closed the case. Yet the mystery remains. What was that sound that haunted Forest Grove? To this day, no one knows. A woman named Liliana, filming off the coast of Chile, captured something she couldn't explain. Her camera revealed dark figures gliding just beneath the surface of the waves. At first glance, many assumed it was just a pod of whales, but others swore the shapes looked almost human, eerily similar to mermaids. What makes it even stranger is the timing. This was recorded right after a massive earthquake struck off the coast of Russia. Could the quake have awakened something ancient hiding in the deep? In Indonesia, A man was spending a calm day at home when his dog suddenly erupted into frantic barking, staring down the road as if they sensed something he couldn't see. Stepping outside, he found nothing. The street was empty, but his curiosity wouldn't let it go, so he turned to his security camera footage. And that's when the chill set in. Clear as day, a ghost-like figure appeared, walking down the street. Not once, but twice. He quickly ruled out a camera glitch. After all, his reflection showed up clear. But here's the unsettling part. With his own eyes, he saw absolutely nothing. So the question remains, what did his dogs and his camera witness that day? While hiking near Escondido Falls in Malibu, a group of friends stumbled upon something unsettling. A strange, dark statue standing by the gate of a private house. It had an eerie presence, almost as if it was watching them. Brushing it off as nothing more than creepy yard art, they continued their hike. But later that night, on their way back, everything changed. That same figure was no longer by the gate. This time, it was standing across the road, blocking their path. Before they could even process what they were seeing, fear took over. They bolted into the night, too terrified to look back. So, what exactly did they witness out there? While hiking near North Sentinel Island, a man launched his drone and captured rare footage of the Sentinelese, an ancient, untouched tribe that has lived in isolation for thousands of years. With strict laws forbidding contact to protect them from outside diseases, seeing them on camera feels like peering into a world frozen in time. 3 miles deep into a silent research forest, a hiker suddenly froze, the stillness shattered by the wail of an air raid siren echoing through the trees. The sound was eerie, almost out of place, and they couldn't figure out why it was happening. With no answers, they just kept moving forward, uneasy but curious. Later, they discovered the truth. It wasn't a warning for lost hikers or a sign of danger at all. It was simply how the nearby town calls its first responders, since cell service out there is almost non-existent. Harmless, but unsettling in the moment. A chilling new video has been making the rounds online, allegedly filmed deep in a secluded forest in Mexico. The clip shows a bizarre, tiny winged figure, humanoid in shape, fluttering wildly in front of the camera before disappearing into the trees. Though the footage is grainy, it's ignited fierce debate among cryptid enthusiasts and folklorists. Some argue it could be the most convincing modern evidence of the legendary duende, or perhaps a local take on the fairy myth. Skeptics, however, insist it's nothing more than clever editing, or maybe even just an insect caught at the right angle. Still, countless viewers admit the same thing. Watching it leaves you with a deeply unsettling feeling, as if you've glimpsed something never meant for human eyes. Deep in the woods, something massive was caught moving between the trees, and no one can quite explain what it is. At first glance, it looks like no ordinary animal we've ever seen before. Some believe it could be a rare species that's managed to stay hidden from science, while others are convinced it might be a cryptid straight out of folklore. But then again, could it be something else entirely? The footage leaves more questions than answers, and the longer you watch, the stranger it seems. Take a close look and decide for yourself, what do you think was wandering through the forest that day? On March 5th, 2025, two couples set out for what was supposed to be an ordinary hike through a quiet mountain clearing in Colorado. They had walked this trail many times before, but on this day, something felt off, like the air itself was holding its breath. As they made their way deeper into the woods, an unsettling sound broke the silence. heavy, deliberate footsteps echoed through the trees, accompanied by strange, guttural gibberish. No words they could recognize. The hikers froze, scanning the trail ahead. That's when they saw it. A massive figure, tall and hunched, emerged just a few yards away. Its movements were slow but purposeful, and before fear could take over, one of the hikers managed to snap a quick photo. Hours later, the image surfaced online through the account Squatchwatch1, instantly sparking debate. The photo revealed something chilling. The creature's arms were far longer than human proportions, hanging well past its knees, giving it an almost unnatural silhouette. To cryptid enthusiasts, this detail was impossible to ignore. Colorado has a long history of alleged Bigfoot encounters, but many blurry photos and shaky videos have left skeptics with plenty of doubt. This time, however, experts are saying the image could be one of the clearest, most compelling pieces of evidence ever captured of the legendary creature. Was this just another trick of light and shadow? Or did those hikers stumble upon something that has eluded mankind for generations? Deep underground, hidden in the cold silence of a cave, there was something no one expected to see. A figure, frozen in place, kneeling, almost like it was begging for mercy. At first glance, it didn't look like a statue at all. It looked alive, nearly as if a real person had been turned to stone in that exact moment. Some explorers who stumbled across it couldn't shake the feeling that they weren't looking at art, but a body petrified by time. Could it have been some ancient ritual? Or maybe a punishment from long ago, preserved in stone forever? What made it even stranger was the location. This wasn't a temple, or a museum, or anywhere you'd expect a statue. It was buried deep inside a dark, damp cave where hardly anyone ever goes. So why was it there? Did someone drag it down to hide it? Or could the cave itself have swallowed a person whole, sealing their last desperate plea into eternity? Its hands pressed together, its head bowed low. The air turns heavier, colder, and you can't help but wonder if it's watching, waiting. Some people think it's just a sculpture carved long ago and abandoned, but others believe caves hold secrets we don't fully understand. Maybe it wasn't made. Maybe it was once living, a warning, trapped forever, for anyone who dares to enter. So here's the question. What do you think? Was this simply a statue left behind? Or was someone frozen in stone inside that cave? While hiking in a forest, this person stumbled upon something chilling. There's a massive 10-foot-tall Grim Reaper carved right into a living tree. The detail is mind-blowing. Every fold in the robes, the mysterious hooded face. It looks so real, it's almost scary. But wait, it gets better. This isn't just one carving. There are more creature sculptures hidden throughout these woods. Someone has been secretly creating an amazing outdoor art gallery. The coolest part? All the trees are still alive and growing around the carvings. That takes serious artistic skill. While trekking through the dense woods of Monura, Utah, a lone hiker stumbled upon something he never expected. Off in the distance, his camera caught a towering fur-covered figure moving silently between the trees, only to vanish in an instant. At first, he brushed it off, unsure of what his eyes had just seen. But once he reviewed the footage at home, the chilling realization set in. He had captured the entire encounter on film. The question is, did he record undeniable proof of Bigfoot? Or was it nothing more than someone in a costume trying to stir up attention? A mother's heart races as she senses a dark, menacing presence lurking close by. Grabbing her child, she dashes to safety, but instead of fleeing, her fear turns into fierce courage. She storms back, hurling stones at the shadowy figure, refusing to let anything threaten her family. The grow heavy with a strange, chilling sound echoing from the unknown. But what is it? Could it be an elf? A creature said to dwell deep within the mountains, silently watching from the shadows? Or perhaps something far more sinister, a jinn, a supernatural being born of darkness beyond the grasp of human understanding. While walking, this person heard a strange noise rising from a sewer. Curious, they began recording, not noticing anything unusual until later. When the footage was reviewed, a figure appeared in the shadows. Was it just a person hiding? Or something far more sinister? Some say it looked like a ghost. Others believe it was a jinn, or maybe something even darker. The question is, what do you see? A man went camping with his friends when they realized something or someone was stalking them in the woods. At night, they couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. Strange noises circled their camp, and by morning, they found fresh footprints near their tents, with some of their gear mysteriously missing. Determined to find answers, the man launched his drone and switched on the thermal camera. Sure enough, a figure appeared, moving through the trees, keeping its distance. He followed it closely until the figure suddenly stopped. Switching the drone to normal vision, he expected to finally see who or what had been trailing them. But it wasn't a person at all. Standing perfectly still was a deer. Only, something about it felt wrong. The group was shaken to its core. Could it have been a shape-shifting Bigfoot? A skinwalker hiding in plain sight? Or something even darker? A Reddit user recently shared a wild story about his uncle in Colorado, who owns a sprawling 20 to 30 acre property. The uncle had sent their grandmother a photo he claimed might be actual proof of Bigfoot lurking on the land. Naturally, the user wasn't sold, especially with AI-generated images flooding the internet these days. When they asked the community for second opinions, most people pointed out that the figure looked suspiciously like a cardboard Bigfoot cutout. Honestly, I have to agree. The shot feels just a little too perfect to be the real deal. In May 2025, something chilling was caught on camera near the High River in Colorado. Several bystanders filmed what appeared to be a massive, shadowy figure moving through the wilderness.
That's really funny.
The creature was tall, covered in hair, and its movements seemed unnatural, almost too fluid to be human. Now, the footage has everyone talking. Was this the long-awaited proof of Bigfoot, or just another trick of the eyes? Could the legendary creature be roaming the forests of Colorado? This person was exploring an old abandoned building deep in the forest. The place was dark, broken, and completely silent. While looking around, the explorer suddenly heard a child's voice calling out, But here's the scary part. No one else was there.
En donde pasó este percance. Y es que las personas que viven cerca, a raíz de que pasó este suceso, decidieron irse del lugar. Pero hay personas que a veces pasan cerca de esta casa y escuchan a un niño llorar justamente viniendo de esta casa, como si estuviese aquí todavía, pero como pueden darse cuenta, está completamente abandonada. Estoy escuchando ruidos medio raros. Hola. Uy. Algo. Como si vinieran aquí. Es mi idea o se mira como si estuviera alguien aquí parado, miren.
Some say it could have been a mimic, a creature that copies voices to trick people. Others think it was just the building playing tricks on the mind. Either way, the person didn't wait to find out and left fast, feeling like something was still watching from inside. While trekking deep into a remote U.S. forest, a group of hikers couldn't shake the feeling that something, or someone, was watching them. Out of caution, they pulled out a camera to document their surroundings. That's when it happened. From the thick brush, a towering, ape-like figure covered in dark orangish hair suddenly lunged into view, sending the hikers scrambling in fear. But the encounter didn't end there. Later, they managed to capture more footage of the same creature, this time slipping quietly back into the woods. Strangely enough, instead of fleeing, the hikers decided to follow. The closer they looked, the more the hair seemed to move naturally, hugging the creature's muscles in a way that didn't look like a costume. Still, there's something about the footage that doesn't feel entirely authentic. Could it be real, or just another elaborate hoax? While hiking through the forest, someone came across something straight out of a horror movie. Leaning against a tree, high up in the mountains, were the skeletal remains of what looked like a deer or similar animal. But here's the strange part. It wasn't just lying on the ground, the way you'd expect. No. This skeleton had been carefully propped upright against the trunk of a tree, almost as if someone or something wanted it to be seen. Just imagine walking alone, the air crisp, snow still clinging to the ground, when suddenly you turn your head and see bones staring back at you, ribs stretched wide, skull tilted downward as if it's watching. That sight alone is enough to freeze anyone in their tracks. But the bigger question is, why was it put there? Was this simply nature at work, the remains stuck in place as time went on? Or could it have been placed deliberately as some kind of warning, maybe to keep people away or mark territory in the most unsettling way possible?